everyone. Tia from Order of the Bookish here. I'm really excited to do another Author Talks interview. Today we have Michael DeConzo, author of Two Nickels and a couple other books that are out and coming out soon. Michael, please tell us about Two Nickels, about the next book, the prequel, and the book you have coming out soon.
Okay, so Two Nickels was my debut novel. It was actually published 4 years ago, in January 20th, actually. So it has a birthday. Just had a birthday. And it was a book that I had been thinking about for a long time. And then one day I just sat down and wrote it. But I've been taking notes and I've been talking to people and boring people, driving people crazy about this crazy idea. And then one day I just sat down and said, I'm going to write this. And then it came out very, very quickly. Okay. It's very close to my heart. And people ask me, is this a true story? If you read it, it's not a true story. It gets a little crazy, but it's based on people that I know, and people, there's a little bit of all of us in these characters.
Yeah, so I know a little bit about your background. I've read through your bios, I've talked to you before. I know a bit about your characters, and I do see some parallels going on in there. You've lived quite a life in New York, Staten Island. You've owned businesses. You said you drove a truck for a restaurant back in the day, and your characters seem to also have equally diverse and wild lives. So are you getting a little bit of inspiration from your own life?
Absolutely. I think as an author, you have to. I think that you channel your own experiences and the experiences of the people around you. So right off the bat, there's a character in Two Nickels, Laura Winters. And she is the protagonist's love interest. And whoever reads the book immediately says, "Well, that's your wife, Pamela." And I said it kind of is because she's just a wonderful, wonderful character. But people say, "Well, am I in the book?" I said, "We're all in the book." People say, "Are you Johnny Romano?" Some of me is Johnny Romano. So I think you have to really love your characters. In order to write and really stay with it, you really need to love your characters. And I think you kind of love the people around you, and then you kind of bring them into your fiction.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about Welcome to the Arcade? Are these the same characters? Are they going through a big growth here, or is there more plot going on and less character growth?
So when I was thinking, so after I wrote Two Nickels, I was exhausted. So all I really wanted to do was sit on my deck, drink wine, hang out with my family, and walk my dog Gatsby. And then one day I said, something, I really love these characters, and I'd like to know them when they were younger. So Welcome to the Arcade is actually a prequel to Two Nickels, and it picks up the same characters it begins when they were 10 years old, and it ends when they were 20 years old. So it covers 10 years of their lives. And it's really a coming of age novel. And again, a lot of the experiences of my characters I kind of lived through, my friends lived through. And to me, my wife says you're always very distracted when you write. She'll say, I'll ask you to do something 11 times. And that's kind of like, because you're reliving, I think that makes it truthful. You're reliving your past, not always easy, but I think that adds, I think it adds an element of truth. And I think that's a really important thing for novelists to do. It's got to be truthful.
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of brought this up. I want to talk to you a little bit about your writing process. So part of your writing process is you get very distracted and you probably throw yourself fully into it. Can you tell me, like, how do you write? Do you go to a separate space? How long does it take you? Tell me a little bit about your process.
So I get up very, very early in the morning. Okay, usually about 5:30, and I have this incredible rescue Labrador named Gatsby. My daughter named him. The Great Gatsby is my favorite novel. I think it's the greatest American novel ever.
Absolutely.
But I didn't name the dog. My daughter Elise, she goes, he looks like a Gatsby. So Gatsby just turned 10 on Sunday, and we walk the neighborhood at like 5:30, quarter to 6 in the morning. And that's when I get my best ideas, and it's just like, no phones, very few people on the street. And I just think, and I talk to him, and I run home, I make coffee, and then I start writing everything down that just kind of came to me during this walk. And then I'll spend the next like 2-3 hours just putting it down on my computer, and then sometimes in the afternoon, I'll go back over it, but I really feel that like the good stuff can't be forced. The good stuff comes to you when you're walking your dog, when you're in the shower, when you're watching FBI on a Tuesday night, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, that's it. That's what he says to her. And then I run upstairs and write it down. It's very hard to sit down and say, okay, this is going to be really good right now. Because usually it isn't if you try to force your hand.
I call it divine inspiration when it comes to you when you're not trying to force it. And those sometimes are the best ideas, or they sometimes end up being the worst ideas. But they're ideas you should follow regardless.
Sometimes they're very bad ideas. Sometimes what was I thinking here? Well, he wouldn't do that. That's a terrible idea.
But you don't know that until you try it out. And then you figure it out along the way.
And that's another part of the process. You have to try out a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep on throwing.
Did you try out anything that just like completely did not work?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. And then some things, the mystery of this thing is like, the characters take on lives of their own, which is so interesting, and all of a sudden you'll be writing something and you intend it to go one way. And then the character kind of steps up and says, no, I'm not doing that. It's going to go this way. And you're shocked. They're like, I'm in charge here, but not really, not really. No. And that's happened to me, especially in Welcome to the Arcade. A couple of times things came out of the blue from the character. And I said, wow, that's good. And that's true. And I'm going to let him have his way here. That's one for you. But that's a fascinating moment when that happens.
Yeah, it's something I think a lot of great writers experience, and it's so hard to explain it to readers because readers are like, don't you plan your book? Like, don't you know what you're writing? And as writers, we have to be like, yeah, but no.
No, absolutely.
So are you more of a plotter, or do you just go with the flow?
Go with the flow. I know the beginning and I know the end. I know. So right now I'm working on a sequel to Two Nickels. So the flow would be, it's Welcome to the Arcade, then Two Nickels, and this picks up Two Nickels 7 years after the fact.
Okay.
Okay. And I know the ending and I know the beginning, and now the characters are just kind of walking me through the plot. And every day again, I'm surprised, and characters are saying things that, where did that come from? But it's truthful and it works. So let's do it. And that takes you in a different direction. So I'm only about 45 pages into the new work, and I want it to be shorter and, pack a powerful punch, because I know that this is the last time I'm going to see these characters. So I want to do them justice.
I think your books generally pack a powerful punch. I was looking at your reviews earlier, and you have currently, at this moment in time, 83 reviews on Amazon, which is a good number, and they're almost all 5 stars. You have like a couple that are like 4 and 3 stars, but almost everyone who has reviewed your book has given it a full 5 stars, and they all say the same thing. Character development is on point. Storytelling is incredible. Your writing style is amazing and relatable. So clearly how your writing process works very well when you have so many people from all around the world saying the same things about your writing.
Thank you very much for saying that, Tia. That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I say one thing. There's been, so over the last, I don't know, few months, I've actually written Two Nickels as a screenplay.
Cool.
Okay. Exciting. And I have a couple of people. It's on the Blacklist. You know the Blacklist?
I do. Yeah.
Right. So it's on the Blacklist, and it's gotten a pretty good review on the Blacklist. So I have a couple of people that are actually looking at it now.
That's very exciting.
So that's a very recent development. That's only like the last few, maybe like the last 6 weeks or so.
So potential
So
movie or TV show in the future?
they, so the feedback on the Blacklist said they really see it as maybe like a Netflix movie,
Hmm.
which to me it's yes, I see it too. Yes, I definitely see it as a Netflix movie.
So
Absolutely
if
perfect.
you were to direct your movie, what are some of the things that like us as viewers would see? How would we feel watching this movie? Like what do you want us to get from it?
I think you would be very frustrated at some of the choices that my protagonist makes because at some points you really want to kill him. Are you really going to do that? Are you really going to say that? You're really going to make that choice. But at the end, you know that he has a good heart.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people root for him to just kind of straighten his life out and make some good decisions for change.
Hmm.
So, and at the end, I think it's kind of touching. Some people have actually likened it to "It's a Wonderful Life,"
Okay, I
where
can see that. Yeah.
at the end it's very open ended,
Mhm.
but there's a chance that he might find a better path.
Okay.
And
Well,
and
that's good
I,
to
I
know.
just
Yeah,
want
I
people.
need a happy ending. I want a happy ending, Michael.
But I'm telling you, the last book is called "Could This Be Magic?"
That sounds nice. Yeah.
And I'm trying to incorporate some more magical realism elements into it. You
Hmm.
know, um, and I know this one has a happy ending, very happy ending.
Okay.
It takes him a while again, being Johnny. It takes him a while to get there,
So can
but
you
it's
tell
going
us
to have
a
a
little bit?
very
It takes him a while. I mean, like sort of like a young man. It's gonna take a while.
right. Johnny is he's a very young. In Welcome to the Arcade, he's a very young 20.
Hmm.
Very kind of immature. And in Two Nickels, he's a very young 30. And in this one, he's also a very young 37. He learns many lessons during the course of his challenges.
So maybe a little bit less frustrating in this book now that he has gone through the coming of age process and now he's a grown adult and he's
I
learned some
think like
lessons
I
or
think
no?
like all of us, I think we're always going through the coming of age process. I don't think we ever really. I think book people never really grow up. We're always got that Peter Pan thing and that Harry Potter thing. We're always looking to
Hmm.
a little magic in our lives.
That would be nice to see, and especially in a movie, but also in books that like we have a grown adult. 37 is older than I am right now, so it would be nice to see grown adults not have their life together, so I don't feel so bad about not having my life together. So very relatable.
No, it's not easy to have your life together.
Hmm.
That's one of the messages of my books. It's not easy to have your life together.
But I love the process of trying, and that's something very exciting to read. So, can you tell me a little bit about your marketing process too? So, we've talked about writing, and I know a little bit of the marketing you've done. We've connected a few times, and you've
Right.
also done a lot of stuff within your state and your area where you live. What is it that you do to get your book out there?
So number one, I would like to thank you because you have embraced the books and you have really put me in touch with some really wonderful people, and you've been a big support. And I'd really like to thank Order of the Bookish and Books for Movies. You've been very, very supportive and really terrific.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
of course, your book is amazing and you're an amazing human being. And I really just want my life to be all about making sure authors with voices that should be shared are actually being visible in the world. So, like, I love doing this.
And I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you've done.
So,
And
besides
I'm
the
still in.
little bit that I've done in
Okay.
the past, what else are we doing?
I mean, I just reach out to a lot of people. I mean, Facebook and Instagram are. I'm not a TikTok guy,
Mhm.
so I'm not book talking. I'm not, but those two mediums have been great for me. I reach out to a lot of groups, reading groups, a lot of Staten Island groups
Mm,
on Facebook that really have embraced the novels.
nice.
I'm very proud to say that both novels are in the New York Public Library.
Very cool. That's awesome.
That means the world to me because
Yeah.
as a kid, I went to the New York Public Library and took books out.
Yeah.
And the fact that people can go to the New York Public Library and take my books out
Hmm.
is just it amazes me. I still can't believe it.
And
You
everything's
know,
come full circle.
yeah, yeah. And actually, when I grew up on Staten Island, and there's and my books take place in South Beach, which is right under the Verrazano Bridge. Okay. And I actually spoke in November at the South Beach branch of the library, again, which is where I went as a little kid, trudging up the hill to take out. And so to speak there, to people who came, that really meant the world to me. And actually, I just found out yesterday I was invited back in May to talk about, yeah. So, and to me, there's nothing greater than the New York Public Library. It really is. I mean, so that's a thrill. So that's kind of the stuff I do. I think, and this is partly, again, thanks to you. We have a great network of authors, especially on Instagram, who support each other. Good. PB Flowers, and we read each other's books, and we, and write reviews for each other, and it's really a terrific network of support, and the word gets out.
That's definitely true. Having a network of authors and readers who are there to support you and share your content to their stories, and beta read and alpha read and leave each other reviews has been such a game changer. When I started in this space a couple of years ago, that's one of the things I really wanted to focus on, was just creating small spaces on Instagram, on Facebook, my email newsletter, where people in a similar field, in a similar niche, could come together and just work together on whatever it is that you need. I'll actually be talking to BB Flowers in a couple weeks, and I'll be interviewing her as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. And like I said, she's been so supportive, and it's nice because we basically, there's a group of us that we interact every day.
That's nice.
And someone just put up about, getting like a 1-star on Amazon, and we've all experienced it. It happens, and just to commiserate a little. And, say that happened to me, that happened to you. It's okay. There's one lost soul that, was in a bad mood that day. It's not a reflection of what we do.
That's absolutely true. It is so much easier going through the self-publishing process, which in and of itself is so difficult and feels impossible. It does get much easier when you have a group behind you, especially just to answer questions and be there for you when you get the 1-star reviews. And it's going to happen to everybody. So to any authors watching this, if you've gotten a 1-star review, you are not alone. We've all gotten a 1-star review.
Absolutely.
All right. So if you can give any tips to authors watching this, what would it be? Either in the writing process or the marketing process, or both, like something that you've come across and you hope that any author seeing this doesn't have to experience on their own.
I would just say that you really have to, and again, it might sound trite, but you have to really believe in what you do. You have to believe. You can't let, you have to believe that you have something to say, and you're going to say it in a unique way that people are going to want to read it and participate in it. You have to have that belief, and it's got to be a very strong, kind of a burning desire to get what you have to say on paper. Because if you let the self-doubt in, you'll never, there's a zillion people that have started a book.
True.
Zillion people have written a chapter, 2 chapters, 10, and it never gets done because they kind of lose that burning desire and the confidence and the belief in themselves that they can actually do it, and then once you commit to it, you got to commit to it 1,000%. You can't put it down and say, well, I'll get back to it, next month. I mean, things happen, life happens. We all have, things that happen in our lives that we have to put, but you can't, if you're going to do it, you have to do it full speed ahead.
Absolutely.
And really believe you can get it done.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's very possible. I mean, there's so many easy ways to become a self-published author these days. I know traditional publishing is a little bit harder, but it's so easy to self-publish these days. There's really no good excuse to not do the thing that you really are dreaming about doing. Even if life gets in the way, you can find 5 minutes in the car just typing notes on your phone. There's always a way to reach your dreams if you fight hard enough for it. Yeah.
And like I said, you have to believe in yourself, and you can't let anybody dissuade you that what you have to say is not valid.
Absolutely, yeah. The insecurities and the self-doubt. I grew up Catholic, so I know a little bit about like demonology and stuff. So I call this insecurities that pop into my brain. I call him Ball, the demon Ball. And I just
Yes.
tell him like that's not me. I'm not giving myself insecurities. This is not my self-doubt. This is a demon whispering in my mind, and I'm like, no, I'm not even gonna listen. So I think that's how I function. Otherwise, I would not be where I am today. But I think just anyone watching this, if there's one thing you're going to take away, it's if you do get insecurities, which you're going to, we've all been there, we've all done that. Just don't give it any credit. Don't give it a second thought. Just let it come in and then push it right back out.
And the thing is too, you don't have to be, you don't have to be in a great mood to write. You don't, you just kind of sit down and do it, so you get your inspiration, but sometimes we're not in great mood, sometimes we're in great mood, but it doesn't matter. You just have to sit down and commit some hours to it.
Yeah.
And even if you're feeling insecure, you can't let that insecurity prevent you from sitting down and taking notes or starting to type, in your computer, because if you did, then it's not going to happen.
Absolutely,
and again, we all feel insecure, and we all have self-doubt, and none of us are like, said, I'm great and I'm gonna, far from the, we just find the way to, and you have to just sit down and do it almost every day.
I would love to one
you
day meet
know
an author that's never felt an insecurity, just so I could be like, how do you do it?
I
How do
don't
you
think they
function?
exist. I think if you interview John Grisham, if you interview Willie Shakespeare, if I don't think it exists.
And just as creatives, I don't think any creative is ever out there and just saying, yes, I'm the best.
No, no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's too personal too. You're laying
Yeah.
yourself on the line. So because it's so personal, that vulnerability is going to,
Mm-hmm.
creep in, because
Definitely.
it's so, it's so personal.
It's scary, especially like even if it's like fiction and fantasy and something epic world building and not part of reality, we're still putting like pieces of our soul into this book. Our characters are slightly modeled after us and things we've been through in life. So when something happens like a 1-star review, it actually feels physically painful because it feels like someone's rejecting you personally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah. But we all have to take
And
a step back and just be like, they're not coming after me as a human being. They just didn't like the story, which is fine.
and again, it could be the genre,
Mm-hmm.
it could be the genre, it could be your voice, but that doesn't mean that it's not a worthwhile piece of writing.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean the next reader is going to say, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is I love this book. So just so because one person gives you 2 stars, that doesn't mean that the next person's not going to give you 5 stars. So you have to keep that in mind.
And I think you are the expert on this because, like I said, you have like
I'm not an
2
expert,
out
far
of
from an expert on
84.
anything.
You have almost five
Yeah.
star reviews across the board. So I'm listening to
Well,
your
I'm
advice.
far from an expert on anything. Believe me.
I'm glad you bought
Dog
up
walking. I'm
the.
a good dog walker.
You're a good dog walker. Gatsby must be happy.
He's a very good boy. He's right by me now. He's a very good boy.
Oh, good. I
It's
have my
funny.
dog too, but I have to keep her out. Otherwise, she yells at me if I don't give her attention.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's great. Like I say, he's 10, but it's funny. Like I'm a college professor.
Mm-hmm.
So during, COVID, I would do Zooms, the classes stopped,
Yeah.
and Gatsby would be, by my side, and, we'd start class at 4:40, and in class would go to 6:20. By
Mm-hmm.
about 10 after 6, I would put Gatsby on my lap.
Oh, that's
My wife,
cute.
my wife would bring me a big glass of red wine, and I'd put Gatsby on my lap, and all my students say, "Oh, that's Gatsby. Let's see Gatsby." This
Mm-hmm.
happened every Wednesday, every Thursday, and he's got his moment in the sun, Gatsby, through
That's a
Zoom.
good way to keep your students showing up just so they can come and see Gatsby.
They knew every 6:10. Here comes the wine. Here comes Gatsby.
That's funny. So, how do you balance work and writing?
Not easy, and
Mm.
family, because I'm a family. I have 3
And
kids.
family.
Just had my first grandchild.
Oh, congratulations.
A couple of months ago, my daughter had a baby boy, daughter and her husband Tom. So
Nice.
so so the thing is, I think that's why one of the reasons why I try to carve out those morning hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because I teach in the afternoon, and and if I could write from say 6 to 10, and I try to get, oh, it's 10:30. That's a piece of time that's kind of like not in anybody's way, you
Mhm.
know. My kids are doing whatever, my wife's doing whatever. That's my time to try, And again, sometimes I'll go back to it in the afternoon,
Mhm.
but I try to have that dedicated time every day, and
Yeah.
that's really the only way I can do it.
Mhm. And is that
The
something you
morning.
started off with? Like you started off with that schedule and the ritual, or do you have to experiment and try to find that?
No, I started off with that because
Okay.
again, and I'm sure life gets busy, right?
Yeah.
Phone starts ringing, doorbell starts ringing, people want to do things, pick this up, we got to go food shopping. Friend needs this. So, but usually a friend doesn't need something, or at 6:30 in the morning.
That's true. Yeah, no one rational is up at 6 in the morning, Michael. That's
So
insane.
usually, some my daughter will text me a picture of the baby. I'll have coffee with my wife around 8.
Mhm.
But usually that's a good time for me to kind of clear my head. Like I said, once Gadsby and I have walked, which is crucial to the process,
Yeah.
crucial. Just the two of us. And then I come home, and that time works for me because the rest of the day just takes off.
Yeah.
You know.
That's so good to hear. So, I want to do a couple of little hot takes before we end our discussion here. Hot take number one, I have to bring up every time I do an author interview just because it's such a relevant topic going on within our industry right now, and that is AI. Now, you are a professor, so you might have even more insight into this because AI is also very much happening in schools as well. Students are using it. What do you think about AI within publishing, self-publishing, both the creative aspect of it and as an assistive tool?
I'm absolutely petrified of it. Absolutely. My wife actually told me today that Paul McCartney went to Parliament today in London and petitioned. He did something where he tried to prevent his music from being appropriated by
Mm,
AI.
yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
so I am absolutely. And again, it's a battle in school because AI is writing papers, AI is writing homeworks.
Yeah.
You know, and I was actually thinking today, if I fed two nickels and welcome to the arcade into AI, could AI write the third book? And
Oh.
just
Hmm.
thinking that is kind of very scary,
Hmm. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
I think very good could come out of it, but again, it's kind of scary to me to think that
Yeah.
it has this power
Hmm.
so quickly,
Well, I'm going to
and
be
what
honest.
is it?
I don't think you have to worry. I like technology. Like I love when technology grows and comes out. Like Kindle, I was super excited when Kindle came out, even though everyone else in publishing was scared of it. So now that I'm seeing AI, I'm excited for the possibilities, but also because I've experimented with a lot of it, I can tell you for certain if you fed AI your two books, it would not be able to write you the third book, at least not well. It would very obviously be AI. It would not sound good. It would not sound human. It's okay at mimicking. It's not good at actually creating the way a human creates.
I'm very relieved. I'm
Yeah,
very
at least
relieved
not
to
now.
hear.
Not at this time in this
Right.
video. And maybe
I'm
5 years
gonna
from
sleep.
now, but I'm
I'm
not
gonna
worried
sleep
about right
better
now.
tonight. Okay. I'm gonna sleep better tonight. That now that you've said that.
But yeah, it is scary because AI is now able to scrape creative works like art, music, and books off of the internet. So if your book's published on the internet, AI is able to scrape it fairly easily, and you would never know.
Right.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
scary.
And again, it's as a teacher, it's tough because students are using it,
Hmm.
and
Have
now
you
that's
caught
one
students
more.
using it?
Yes. 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 And it's kind of obvious. It's kind of
Hmm.
obvious,
Yeah.
but still, I mean, it was one thing back in the 10 years ago, kids would plagiarize,
Hmm.
but they would just take a piece from the internet and hand
Photos,
it
clip
in, and it was
notes. Yeah.
obviously not their work.
Hmm.
This is a little more tricky to detect,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
it's definitely making our lives harder, our jobs harder.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I don't even know if I was teaching. I taught little kids a while ago, and I don't even know what I would do now to try to catch them using AI in homework assignments. I might just stop doing homework altogether.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's a lot. Actually, a lot of teachers are doing that. Everything is in class. Everything is a lot of it in class writing assignments. You know,
I like to hear that. I wish I had gone through that. I was tired of homework. Why did I have to continue school at home?
Right. True. Yeah. No, it's true though. It's true.
Mm-hmm. So we've talked about so much today. Thank you so much for sharing. Do you have any last information about your books or the book coming up that you want readers to know?
I just, if they're available again, they're available in the New York Public Library, but they're on Amazon, they're on Barnes and Noble, they're on Target. If you do read it, read them or one of them, please reach out and let me know, because that feedback is really, really important. Yeah. And even if it's not a review, even if you people text me, send me messages on Instagram and Facebook and say, I just read your book, and that means so much.
Yeah.
That this technology allows us, the author and reader, to be interactive. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, I would have loved to reach out to J.D. Salinger and say, what's going on with Holden? And, if I could do that, I would have not stopped doing that, So, and even F. Scott Fitzgerald, even a little before my time, but I would love to say, what's the deal with Gatsby, or why did Nick, but the fact that readers now can do that, so they can actually reach out to the author on these platforms and ask questions and give immediate feedback. That's exciting.
Yeah. Very.
So if you do happen to read these books, if you could reach out to me or to other authors that you enjoy, I think that means a lot to us.
Thank you so much, Michael. I will be sure to put a bunch of your links below. I know you have quite a few of them. I'll put them all below so readers can find you easily and connect with you. Readers, make sure you go follow Michael and read his book, Two Nickels, and Welcome to the Arcade. Honestly amazing. Everyone has nothing but good things to say about these books, and for a reason. So check them out. And Michael, thank you so much for being here today. I hope to see your new book soon.
Thank you so much, Tia, for your time. This was absolutely wonderful. It's a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another author interview with me. I'm Tia at Order of the Bookish. Make sure you subscribe to all the Order of the Bookish channels for more updates on news, trends, marketing tips, and self-published authors and their books, because we have so much coming this year and you don't want to miss out on any of it. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for the next author interview coming next Friday.